teaspoon thing.
Looking at what?
400. So we're gonna answer questions. If you mess up, I can edit it out. If I ask you a question, you're like, oh, I don't want to answer that question, then you just tell me to, and I won't put it in there. You sure you don't want wine?
This time, I can't have wine at all. Stay off the sugar.
Well, I will have some then. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with Mimi. My mom has joined me finally for a Q&A. So we're gonna bake a pie and answer some questions and see how it goes. Mimi's never done a Q&A before. She's never like talked to the camera, so I'm sure this is very strange for her. So we're gonna bake a pumpkin pie. I don't think that there's anything fancy about the pie. I will leave a link to the recipe down below so we don't have to like worry about like whether or not we're explaining it correctly and all of that. But we're just gonna hop into questions while we like pour everything together, I guess. Oh, 425. I only did it to 400. Off to a great start. Okay, so first of all, I would love to say thank you guys for being so nice to Mimi. Thanks so much for being nice to my mom. I am so glad you guys have taken an interest into her life. I guess let's just start with the questions. I kind of went through them and there were a lot of like the same questions. So let's start off with the basics. So how old are you, Mimi, or how young are you? Some of you guys asked it very nicely. How young is Mimi?
I am 51.
She's 51 years old. She looks amazing. She was a grandma at 50, right? Because when Riley, or you weren't even 50. When Riley was born, you might have been 49. Yeah, so she was a grandma before 50. So she's a very young Mimi, and she had me when she was
21.
So that's kind of why she's so young. I'm 30. She was 21 when she had me. And people also asked like about like how old you were when you got married.
I was 18.
So yes, everything got done very young back in the day.
Things were different.
A lot of people ask like about like how you met my dad and stuff, so we can start there too.
Well, we met in high school.
They were high school sweethearts.
He was a senior, I was a sophomore.
He was a senior.
Well, then he graduated.
And then he was still dating you and you were in high school?
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, my parents have been together since high school. So they started dating in high school, and then my mom was 18 when she got married. So very young, and then you waited 3 years. Was that a good age to wait 3 years?
Yeah, I always wanted to have my children when I was young. I didn't want to have them at 18, so
you waited 3 years.
So we were married for 3 years. We were able to buy our first house, actually.
Back in the day when houses were like $30.
No, our first house was, I mean, I know exactly how much we paid for it.
Like what? What did you pay for your first house?
Like $89,000.
For a house? For like
for 3 bedrooms?
Three bedrooms? Wow. In Miami?
In Miami.
Wow. Some of you guys also asked like whether or not Mimi was born here, which she was. So we're Cuban, like her parents were born in Cuba, but Mimi was born here. And you've lived here your whole life. What do you mean? That's how I slice my finger, mother.
No, it's because you don't know how to open cakes.
Okay, so for this, let me find the next question. Mimi, did you like Joe right away?
I did.
Are you lying,
No,
Mimi?
I'm not lying. I liked him right away.
She actually made him show up at the door because I was still living with my parents when I met Joe. And he came and he met you guys.
He was very, you know, southern, old-fashioned, which
you liked?
Which I liked. She was the one who wasn't used to that.
Yes, he was very proper, and not to say like other people aren't proper, but I had dated already like a lot of, you know, Miami guys, and he was very different than a lot of guys.
The difference also was that you had dated a lot of very young guys.
That's true. Also, like guys my age.
Yeah, and it was a different dynamic.
Yeah, he was
Joe was
7 years older,
but he was also, you know, culturally a little bit different.
So you didn't mind that he wasn't Cuban? Because like a lot of people asked like if you minded that I was dating someone who wasn't Cuban.
No, I didn't mind.
No, I don't think she minded. And I love the fact that like they liked him right away because it made dating him so much easier, and I just like that they got along, and that's one of the reasons why ultimately like I went and married him, because my parents liked him and I thought that that was really important that they get along.
He felt very comfortable with our family too, which was good. He didn't feel out of place. He enjoyed being around the family, so we like that too.
Is she your mom? Yes, she's my mom. Actually, I've gotten a few DMs of people saying, is Mimi your mom? Is she your sister? Which I get that all the time. I've gotten that my entire life, and then you know that always used to like annoy me when I was younger, because I was like, what are you trying to say, that I'm old? But you know, yes, Mimi looks great, and yes, she is my mom. She birthed me.
In a very long labor.
Really?
Yes.
How long was your labor with me?
Very long. I remember going into the hospital like at 4 in the morning, and you were not born until 6:17 the following afternoon. 6:17 p.m. the following afternoon.
Holy caca, that's not very good. So Mimi, did you sleep train your children?
No. Well, actually with Kayla, a little bit.
You let me cry?
Yeah, but once you were over
I let
one.
my kids cry. Once I was already one.
You were over one because I was pregnant with Brittany,
my sister, who's like 2 years apart from me. You can just eat that, it's delicious.
I know.
So you sleep trained me because you were preparing yourself for having
because
two children?
I had to rock you for, sometimes it would take me 45 minutes to rock you to sleep in a rocking chair. And I was pregnant with Brittany, and I knew I wasn't gonna have time to do that.
Yes, she tells me that I was a very difficult baby. That with that, and then also with feeding, because my mom
Yes.
formula fed.
Yes.
My sister and I. So she didn't nurse me, but she said that when she would give me the bottle, it would take like hours to feed me.
Yes, you were a very tiny baby. You weighed 5 pounds 11 ounces, so you were pretty much preemie size, even though you were full term.
Yeah, I was tiny.
I had like a condition with my placenta. It was very hard for her to suck. She didn't have like the strength to suck. She had to use the preemie nipples. It would take me a good solid 45 minutes to get you to drink 2 ounces of milk.
Oh my god, that's pretty torturous. So I guess payback is a B, because
I'm gonna eat this.
you can eat it. That's delicious. So speaking of that, people have asked if as a baby I was more like Jackson or Riley.
As a baby?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like in what way?
I guess in my personality and how difficult I was.
I guess a combination. I mean, you were a feisty little girl, but not as feisty.
Yeah. People have asked if like I was as difficult as my children, like as Riley. Like people have asked if you had a hard time with me, like I'm having a hard time with Riley.
I don't remember it being that difficult. You were difficult even as a toddler for your eating. Your eating was always an issue.
Yeah, I remember my mom used to have to put the timer on the microwave to get me to eat, because I was one of those children that would take 55,000 years to eat her food, and now
and you didn't like a lot of things, so yeah. The eating was always challenging.
But I wasn't that sassy.
No, you were pretty well.
I listened to you.
Yes.
My child doesn't listen to me.
You were well behaved. I know that I never had to, with any of you, I never had to remove anything off of my coffee tables, or because I would just tell you, we don't touch that, we don't do that, and you listened.
Well, that's great for you. So Mimi, you look amazing. What's your skincare routine? In a nutshell, I know you have like a million products up there, but what does it start with?
In a nutshell, I wash my face with a mild cleanser. I use vitamin C serum in the morning.
Sunscreen. And
always sunscreen. So I always wear sunscreen. I didn't always, probably started hardcore sunscreen on my face and staying out of the sun as much as possible, even in Miami. Like I always wear a hat if I'm outside. Probably when I turned 40, became more aware of that, which I wish I would have started earlier even.
Yeah, she's always lecturing me about wearing sunscreen, and I'm the worst because
that is like, it doesn't make sense to spend money and time in using all these other products if you're gonna undo everything
with sun
damage. So it doesn't make sense to me. Pretty much that's what I do in the morning. I keep it very simple, and then at night I make sure I always take off my makeup. If I don't go out much, but even when I do,
just like us.
Even if I have like a special occasion where I go out at night or anything like that, I never go to sleep with my makeup on. I always make sure I take off all my makeup. I use some exfoliators like alpha hydroxy acid here and there. I mix it into my routine, and retinol, or I don't use a pure retin A because it irritates my skin, but I do use like retinol products, and always like a moisturizer. And I've gotten to know my skin
and she reads a lot of stuff too. Like she's always like reading up like on different like blogs, and she watches videos.
I used to get really bad acne, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Even into my late 30s and early 40s.
But now your skin is not like that.
No. My skin, I had a good dermatologist who helped me clear out my skin.
Well, everybody says that you look freaking amazing, so you're doing something correctly, and obviously I should get on the ball too, because I'm already 30 and I need
sunscreen is the most important thing you can do.
Stop the never-ending wrinkles on my forehead. Okay, so we got the 2 eggs. What else do we have to do? Like all of the little spices. But we have to pay attention, because if not, we're gonna put the wrong spices.
So I did the eggs.
Have you ever made pumpkin pie before?
No, I do apple pie.
Yeah, normally for our Thanksgiving we do apple pie. Just figured that this recipe was easy enough that even I could not mess it up. So Mimi, how do you feel about me vlogging?
At first I thought it was super weird.
Weird? How so? Because I'm talking to a camera?
Yeah. And just
what else?
And just putting your life out there. I'm very private. I don't like attention.
Yeah, hence why like sometimes, you know, she'll be like in my videos when I'm vlogging, but like she doesn't always like to be front and center in the camera.
Like, can you not put
yeah, but then I tell her, I'm like, I'm documenting our life here, and like our kids are gonna look back on these videos years from now and they're gonna want to see your face. They're gonna want to know that Mimi was playing with them, even if you're just in a t-shirt and you have no makeup on. Like they're gonna want to see those times with you. So you have to be in my
I don't really like how I even look in pictures, so yeah, I'm not a huge fan, but I mean, I support her. Is that right?
That's right. She's still not asleep.
She's not gonna go to sleep again.
Probably not. But you support me, so thank you very much. I appreciate your support. Do you still think that it's weird when I walk around with the camera and I'm talking to myself?
No, now I'm just, you know, I know that's what you're doing. I just sometimes don't want to be.
She'll let me vlog all the time, but it's just like she kind of tells me sometimes like, do you really have to get me? And then I'll be like, okay, fine, like I won't vlog you today. So sorry. So the point is that the fact that she is here is a pretty big deal.
Yes, it is.
So Mimi, did you have a job or like a career, or were you a stay-at-home mom?
No, I didn't have per se a career. I worked since I was 16 years old. While I was in high school, I had a job that I'd go to after school. And then when I got married, I worked, I was in college. I never 100% finished, but I was in college, so I was taking classes and I was working. I worked first at a bank. I hated that job so much.
Because your boss was an a-hole?
Actually, no, before the bank. I worked at a freight forwarding company.
And your boss was an a-hole?
They all are.
They're all a-holes.
In the interim of just finding out that I was pregnant, I had interviewed already for this job at the bank. I got it, so I had to.
And then you had to tell them, oh, by the way, I'm pregnant.
I had to tell them, yes, by the way,
and
I'm
they
pregnant.
didn't fire you?
No,
because it's illegal.
They kind of couldn't
They
at
can't
that
do
point.
that.
And then I hated that job. It was just
because your boss was an a-hole.
He was a jerk, and it was really far. The commute was horrific, and I was pregnant.
So then did you quit?
Yeah, so then when I had you, I didn't go back. Please. And I stayed home for about a year. Then at that point, we were really short on money because your father was actually working like 2 jobs. I got a part-time job at FIU, working in the admissions office.
That's the college that I went to school at.
So I worked there part-time as well, and Kayla was, I would leave her with my mom. I got pregnant with Brittany while I was at that job, so I worked through that pregnancy. And then when I had Brittany, your father said, you're not working again, because every time you work,
you get pregnant. And then that was the last job that you had, right?
I mean, the last formal job, yes. Then once you were like, you and Brittany were in elementary school, I started working part-time helping your father.
Oh, right. I remember that.
I was helping him.
But mostly, you've been a stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
Like, I grew up with my mom being a stay-at-home mom.
Well, yes. I mean, I always, even when I was working part-time or whatever, I always made sure that I could go to all the school. I was a room mother. I always made sure I could go to all the school field trips. I was always the one organizing, you know, the holiday parties in the classroom and all that stuff, which is what I love to do.
Yeah, she loved that. So that was one of the reasons, like, I grew up always seeing my mom around. And one of the reasons why, like, I always kind of, like, I got to a point in my career where I was like, I'm probably gonna have to make some kind of a decision here, like work my way up the corporate ladder and be like a super executive. And you know, there's a lot of people that like that, but I knew that I would have preferred to spend more of my time at home with my kids. And that's what I did ever since I had Riley. So I was working up until that point, and then I was a stay-at-home mom, and I love it. Okay, so Mimi, how hard is it for you to be away from the kids?
Very hard.
That was definitely the biggest factor, like the biggest downside. I've told you guys before, and like my dad is laughing at us behind the camera, but that was like the biggest factor in us like leaving. Like, I knew that it was going to be hard for her to be away from the kids, so it's not easy, and I'm sure that you get sad. But we FaceTime her all the time, like every day. Mimi's doing FaceTime with Riley.
Which is not the same.
It's not the same, but like we do our part to at least try to engage with you. It's not like we go days without talking to you.
No, yes.
Riley freaking takes you into the closet and you have to tell her stories for half the day.
Yes, and I appreciate that very much. But yes, that is still not the ideal situation for me. But you know, I also have to accept that it's what's best for their family.
She's supportive. I think she understands why we're doing what we're doing right now, but I know that it's hard for her. So And I mean, it's hard for us too. It's not like we like being away from them.
I mean, you obviously don't like being away too much.
Like we love being around you. Even Joe is like always looking for any opportunity to like come down, stay with them. Like when his job talks about like, oh, we might need someone for something in Miami, he's like, I'll go. 3 months? Okay, fine, we'll be there. And I'm the one that's like, no, like we can't be there for 3 months. Like we need to relax. So Joe likes to be here, we like to be here. But yeah, I'm sorry when we are away. We're gonna do the pie crust, because this is already mixed.
Yes.
So while you do that, a lot of people ask for some marriage advice. What would be one good piece of marriage advice? Because she gives good marriage advice, like several things that I already shared with you guys here on my channel, like the whole appreciating one thing about each other at night. Like that was because one day, like Joe and I called my mom, like, hello, like we're like screaming at each other, what do we do? And she recommended that every night we look at each other and we say like, I appreciated that you did this today, and I appreciated that you do this today. And we take turns appreciating each other, so that we know that, you know, we still love each other. So.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to always come from the position, like, I think too many people assume that when their partner does something that bothers them or that they don't like or that
it's just annoying.
No, they just assume that it's coming from a bad place, like they're
bad intention.
They have a bad intention. They want to upset you. And I think if you assume that the person, whatever they're doing it from a good place, and maybe they just misunderstand what it is you want, and you need to communicate that better, then you won't resent them for doing the things, because they're not, they're doing it with a good intention. It's just not what you want, because perhaps you haven't communicated properly what exactly it is.
But it's not that they just like hate you, they're out to get you, or they're trying to piss you off on purpose.
You should always assume that they love you, and whatever they're doing it from a place of love.
So like when your partner does not like put their underwear in the dirty clothes, they're doing that out of love or just because they're not very smart?
No, those are like little things. Like, you gotta pick your battles.
I would agree. I mean, I don't have that problem because Joseph puts it straight in the hamper, but a lot of people.
No, but like things like when you were telling me you got mad at Joe once because he was cleaning up the kitchen. And
yes.
And you wanted to clean the kitchen.
I wanted to clean the kitchen because I wanted him to play with the kids, because I had been with the kids all day long.
But if you had not properly communicated that to him, how is he supposed to know? He's thinking, I'm doing a good thing. I'm cleaning up the kitchen for her. I'm taking something off her plate.
Yeah,
and she's still upset. And I'm like, okay, well, he's doing it out of a good place. He just hasn't been told specifically. What I would prefer is that you take care of the kids so that I can use cleaning the kitchen as a break from them.
Yes.
Once you do that.
Yes, once I've communicated that, now he lets me clean the kitchen. I clean the avocado knife if necessary, but
which is very necessary.
I guess it's necessary, whatever, people. But yes, Mimi is very wise. I mean, you've been married for how many years?
33, I think.
33 years. That's a long time with somebody.
Yes, it is.
Dear Lord. So Mimi, what do you like to do in your free time, your hobbies? What do you do for fun? I don't have fun.
Fun?
Yes, what are your hobbies?
I mean, I like to exercise. I like to read. I watch a lot of like
she watches is it General Hospital or the one that we're watching?
The Young and the Restless.
Young and the Restless. It's been on for like 52,000 years.
I've been watching that since I was like in early high school.
I don't know. We're watching one that's like always in the background on the TV, like while the kids are playing, and one, like the twin, like died, and then they found they had another twin, yes, and now
it's a soap opera.
Oh my goodness, I don't know how you watch that, but she's been watching it for years.
I watch a lot of mindless TV, stuff like that, but I like to exercise. I like to read.
So how do you exercise? So a lot of people also ask for your fitness routine, as they did not ask for mine because it is non-existent.
I don't really have like a set fitness routine. I like to weight train because I feel like it's the biggest bang for your buck, especially at my age, that you want to strengthen your bones. You need to weight train.
With just like dumbbells? Or?
I do dumbbells, and then I have like that machine upstairs that I'll do for like my legs and stuff like that.
Is it a Bowflex?
It's not.
It's not a Bowflex, but it's something like that. It's like one of those things.
And I also like to do, you know, body weight exercises, a lot of push-ups, a lot of squats, just that kind of body weight exercise.
Do you watch YouTube videos or you just do it on your own?
Most of the time, I'll try to watch, I'll try to put in like a 20-minute upper body workout with dumbbells or something like that, and I'll find something, or you know, leg workout. Or I do a little bit of low impact HIIT. When I was younger, I used to do more higher impact cardio, but now I find that it's a little too strenuous, and also it hurts my joints if I do that too often. So for cardio, I'll either go for a walk, or I'll do some videos that are like low impact HIIT. Sometimes watching TV.
While you're watching
Crunches.
TV, you're doing something.
Yeah, or I'm doing squats, or I'm doing you know, calf raises.
You don't have to like go to the gym per se.
No, I haven't been to the gym. I haven't had a gym membership since I think you guys were, since I was pregnant with Ryan.
Yeah, that was like 21 years ago. Wow, okay, that's a long time.
Are you supposed to like do like a little pretty?
You have to do it like Snow White makes her pies. It's so beautiful.
I am not Snow White.
So this person asked how you got the name Kayla.
I used to, when I was in high school, I worked for, on my after school job, I worked for this guy whose son would come over after school, and he was into another soap opera called Days of Our Lives. I don't think that's on the air
Was it General Hospital or Days of Our Lives?
No, Days of Our Lives. And there was a character in that soap opera named Kayla, and I couldn't watch it. I was working, but I would hear him, and I heard that name, and I said, oh, I love that name. I had never heard that name before, and I wrote it down on a piece of paper in my wallet, and I said, if I ever have a girl, I'm gonna name her Kayla.
So I was named after some chick in a soap opera.
Yes.
Very good. Was Mimi annoyed that your stay was extended? You can answer truthfully.
That is a complicated question.
She absolutely was annoyed that our stay was extended.
No, it's a complicated question because you see, I love having them here, but
just not that long.
It's not even that. Ideally, to me, obviously, I was used to you having you nearby, but at the end of the day, everybody goes home.
Just, we're now in each other's space.
And there's mess, and the toys and the thing kind of goes with them.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'd rather have them here than not be able to see them for months. But you know, it's hard. You know, you have your routine. You're accustomed to doing things certain ways and keeping your house a certain way, and then
when you have extended stay visitors.
So what I hate is that now I feel guilty because it's either we have not enough togetherness where I'm missing you, or too much.
There's not a good in between right now. But hopefully one day we'll be back where we will have a better balance. And next time we're gonna kidnap you, I'll let you know in advance because this time around we literally got here to my parents' house and we're like, by the way, in a week you're gonna come back with us because we're kidnapping you. And she was like, excuse me, come again? And then it just so happened that then when we were there, right, then Joe's boss said, oh, it's actually gonna be much longer. And we were like, oh, by the way, we're coming back not for 10 days.
Not
for
like
10
days.
23 days. So yes, it's been a lot, but at the end of the day, I will still take more togetherness versus not at all. You're doing a great job. The most beautiful pie in all the land. So she seems like she loves her grandbabies so much, which obviously she does. Yes. Does she want you guys to have more?
I want them to do whatever they think is best for their family, for their marriage, for their sanity.
For our sanity, then we're done. Goodbye.
You know, whatever, and whatever God decides as well.
I don't think that you'd be sad if another baby was here.
Absolutely
but
not.
She would also never like pressure me and be like, okay, try for the third, try for the third. She would never do that. Okay, so now
what? It for 15 minutes at 425.
All right, so I hope that this has been focusing somewhat. My mom is putting the pie in the oven, but let's answer a couple more questions then we'll take a break while the pie finishes up. I liked this question that said, what are some ways that you and Kayla are both similar and different?
Oh dear.
Because I can tell you, one of the ways that we're very similar.
Well, I know that we're very different and that she's a hot mess.
Excuse me, that's freaking rude. I mean, yes, it's true.
I'm a little bit more organized.
She's more like Joe.
I'm much, you know, I like.
Excuse me, I am a clean person. Maybe not my house,
no,
but
I am much more of a clean freak.
Yes, and
and she's more go with the flow. She's very go with the flow, which is actually, I wish sometimes I could be like that. I always tell her, people like you know, are happier.
Yeah, like I'm not as stressed out by the little things, especially when I have two little humans. Yeah. Like that stuff doesn't stress me out.
I'm more type A. I'm more type A.
But some ways that we are both similar, I would say that I am very bossy like my mother, okay? Because I grew up having a very bossy mom, and now I am also a very bossy person.
Oh, wow.
Because you spend the entire day telling Father and Ryan what to do and you need it done right now, and I am also that way. And I'm telling Joe, you need to do that, and then he kind of thinks about it for like 2 seconds. I'm like, why are you not doing that thing? So
yes, I'm like that with my son and my husband. I'll ask them to do something, and then if they haven't done it in 2 minutes, I'll do it myself. And then they're like, well, I said, no, if I asked you to do it, it's because I need it done now, not because I need it done in 3 hours.
Exactly. So. I would agree. So that I have like been watching, like, oh my goodness, I am my mother. I am freaking bossy mother. I mean, what other ways are we similar? Are we not similar at all?
I've never really thought about that.
Well, how not? Like, I mean,
we're similar. Like, we wanted pretty much the same things in life. Like,
I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and have my family, and like we have.
But you didn't always.
No, there was a period, I think, where I wanted to be more like executive career woman.
And I would tell her, wait till you get out there.
Yeah, she would be like, you're not gonna like it as much as you think you're gonna like it. And sure enough, I worked in the corporate world and I saw a lot of things from my own eyes, and I was like, the minute that I can get out of here, I'm getting out of here. And so yes, there have been a lot of times when my mom has said stuff to me and I've been annoyed and rolled my eyes back and be like, she doesn't know anything. And then later on in life, I'm like, oh, crap. So Mimi, do you know how to cook? If so, why didn't you teach Kayla?
I'm not the best cook. That is the truth. My mom does not like to cook, even though my mom is Cuban, which normally, you know, that's the stereotypical. The Cuban culture
is normally cooking in the kitchen, but not
my mother hates to cook, and my grandmother hated. My grandmother was a good cook, but she hated to cook. My grandmother always used to say, if I ever win the lottery, I'm getting all the women in the family a cook, a personal cook to cook for them every day. So my family is not like that big into cooking, and I don't love to cook. I can cook some things, and I didn't
starve. We were fed.
I can follow recipes, but I make very simple things.
So do I. So why don't we just ask you tips for new moms? One piece of advice for new moms who are very overwhelmed dealing with their screaming children. What's something that you'd go back and tell yourself as a new mom?
It goes so fast.
Yeah.
Time just flies. So when you're in it, you think that, you know, gosh, I'm stuck in this.
I'm never gonna sleep again.
I'm never gonna sleep again. I'm never going to
have time on my own again.
Be able to eat dinner without interruption, or take a phone call without interruption. And you stress about all of these things, and you look back later and it's like, where did it go? Like, how are my kids already married and with children of their own? It flies. It really, I know it's cliche, but it is the truth. Ask for help when you need help. There's no shame in asking for help.
I ask you for help. Come help me.
Well, yeah, you're blessed in that way that you have people who can help you. Not everybody has people that they can trust to relieve them, so it's a big blessing that you do. But try to find somebody that you can trust if you don't have necessarily, you know, parents or in-laws or sister, because everybody needs a little break. I find that when she lived here, she was, I think, a little bit less stressed, in the sense that I would go to her house once, twice during the week, and on the weekend, awesome. Either we'd go over there or they'd come here. But
I also only had one child too.
And you were overwhelmed then.
I know.
So, but being able to take that break and getting that time for yourself, or they would go out to dinner, even if it was 2 hours, that makes a big difference. So when they're over there and it's a couple months of...
So we should kidnap you again, is what you're saying, that you should come back with us.
What I'm saying is, hopefully you'll be able to live here at some point. Again, these are the hard years. That's why when they were planning to move, I was like, this is a hard time to do it, because this is when you need the most help. Yep. Once your kids are in school and in activities, you do get a kind of a break from them. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, you'll have more time for yourself. These years up until they turn about 4 are the hard ones.
So I'm just screwed. That's what you're saying?
You just have to push through, and you will. I mean,
I will.
We all do. Nobody dies from being a mother that I know of.
You might think so.
You might think so, but you don't. And it goes so fast.
Okay, we've got to change the temperature on our pie now. It's been baking for 15 minutes. Look at that beautiful work of art over there. And look at Jackson. He finally went to sleep. And Riley, on the other hand, is a hot mess. Okay, we're still here waiting for the pie. I thought the pie was gonna bake in like 15 minutes, but it's like a lot longer than that. So while we wait for the pie, I'm gonna ask Mimi a couple more questions. So Mimi, healthy eating tips.
I try to eat a good amount of protein. I also use the collagen peptides to increase my protein.
Yeah, she's the one that told me about the collagen peptides.
Yeah, I have sometimes smoothies for breakfast. I don't have a smoothie every day because I feel like I add some fruit to my smoothies, and sometimes it's too much sugar.
She eats pretty clean. I mean, she'll snack here and there.
I'm not snacking a lot now because I'm actually doing that. I do like intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Like, I don't eat my first meal till 10 a.m. and I try not to eat anything past 6 o'clock p.m.
Yeah.
So I have a smaller window, so I don't really get hungry because I start eating later. Everything in moderation. I would say I'm like a 70-30, 80-20 kind of person. Try to eat organic now.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I couldn't afford to, but I try to eat organic, especially, you know, the Dirty Dozen. I try to buy those things organic.
Those are good tips. Like everything having to do with like health and eating and all of that, like I always just ask my mom because I don't usually like do the research on all of that, and she's the one that spends her time like reading up on these things. So like, how many times a day do you think I call you, mother? How many times a day do I call you when I'm in Virginia and going, can I do this, or what do I do about this?
At least 3.
At least 3 times a day I'm calling her for something. So it's not like she goes without speaking to us. Like I told you guys before, she is like my Google. Like if I didn't have Google, then you'd get like 50,000 phone calls a day, but usually you still get about 50,000 calls a day.
At least 3, which is good because we stay connected.
Yes, because I don't know how to do anything on my own. And then Mimi, what is your favorite thing about being a grandma?
My favorite thing is getting to spoil them, getting to hug and kiss them.
And then telling them to go to their house.
I don't have to be responsible for all their discipline. Even though when they're here, I try to maintain what you guys are doing so that they're not out of control.
Well, some people asked if you're allowed to discipline my kids, and yes, you're allowed to discipline my kids.
Yeah, I try to follow their lead. Especially Riley Jackson is too young still. But if she's doing something that I know that they don't want her doing, or you know, I'll either try to redirect her, ideally, and when she gets too out of control. Like she knows. She knows with
she
me.
respects my mom. Like she knows her limits with my mom. And then I also got a bunch of questions asking if my parenting style, like if you agree with my parenting style or if you disagree with my parenting style. So let's see what you have to say about that.
I don't disagree with your parenting style. I think that your parent just fine. I mean, what do you think I disagree with?
Well, like, okay, so thank you, first of all, that you don't think that I'm a total failure. But some of you guys also asked like about if there's certain things that we've done that you haven't agreed with. So like the sleep training, for example.
Well, I wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah, like
especially in the beginning. I was
like when we the first time around when we sleep trained Riley, that was like a big kind of like, she was like super against sleep training, and then Joe and I wanted to sleep train. But you voiced your opinion.
Yeah.
And she always like tells me like her 2 cents. Whether we choose to completely listen is kind of for Joe and I to decide, but we always value her input. We literally call her about freaking everything. So that's definitely helpful to bounce off ideas, especially that you've had 3 children. So it's helpful, but she also respects what we decide.
Yeah.
We don't always see 100% eye to eye on things, but I think that at the end of the day, you respect that they're my kids.
Yeah,
it's not like you're calling me and showing up at my house and doing something against my wishes or anything like that. I never have to worry about that.
And still, she's here, and I'll be like, okay, so what do I give Riley for lunch? And
sometimes I'm like, can you just freaking give her whatever the heck you want? Like, stop making me think about things.
I know, but I still ask, and you know, and if her father is telling her you can't do this, I don't go behind his back and say, okay, I'll let you know. I say you have to do what your dad says.
Yes. So she's a very good Mimi. And the kids adore her, and she adores them.
I adore them. They're like my...
You love them. They're like so squishy and yummy and delicious.
It's just such a different... Everybody would ask me, how is it different? How is the love different for your grandchildren?
You freaking love them more than me, rude.
Huh?
You love them more than me.
It's not that I love them more. It's different because you love them twice. Because you love them for yourself, and you love them for your child, because you know how much your child loves them because of how much you love your child. So you can relate to how much your child loves this child. So if God forbid anything were to happen to that child, I wouldn't just weep for my feelings. It would be for her, the hurt that she would feel. So you love them like twice.
Oh my God,
as
like
much.
when I called you with Jackson's accident, that was awful. Like I was on the phone with her, like I couldn't even like breathe, and then I was dealing with her like about to die and pass out on her own. It was like the worst day ever. But yes, she's a great Mimi, and we love to be around her, and she helps us with literally everything. So I'm glad that you guys have been curious about her and have been so nice to her, because if I even get like one rude comment on this video, I will come for you, because that is Mimi. And people have asked also like if you have a first name. Do you have a first name?
Ali, Alicia. My name is Alicia, but everybody calls me Ali.
So like no, she does not have a first name. Of course she has a first name, but we call her Mimi, and the kids call her Mimi, and we picked that out, right, Mimi? We picked that out. Because she said, we told her that she was gonna be a grandmother.
I said, absolutely not. You better come up with a better name. And then a lot of people call, a lot of people that I know call their grandmother Nana. Like they call my mom Nana, but I couldn't be Nana again because you know, they call my mother nana.
Yeah.
So
she wanted to be something cooler than like grandma.
Come up
or
with something. I don't care what it is, but come up with something. And that's what they came up with.
So that is Mimi. So now we're gonna wait for the pie and I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's all done. All right, so it's a little later. The pie is finally done. This is our masterpiece over here.
I got a little burn.
You got a little burn. just a little bit burn on the edges, but my mom ended up like covering this up, like the crust, with tin foil so that it wouldn't get super burned. But that is our pie. Should we put whipped cream?
Yes.
Let's put whipped cream.
It might still be too warm.
It might melt.
No, it's still
too warm. Okay, so when I do get around to doing the whipped cream, maybe I'll show you guys what it looks like, all beautiful. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Thank you, Mimi, for being here in our video. Thank you for this Q&A.
Thank you, guys.
So yeah, what were you doing, Father? What's he doing? My dad over here, photobombing our video. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys to pieces. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.